Times Now, Prime Time.
And joining me tonight on the debate, GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ghanshyam Tiwari, National Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Kuntal Krishna, Political Analyst, Vivek Srivastava, Political Analyst. But my first question goes to Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author. And Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I'm deliberately starting with you because you are the only non-political person on the panel, and therefore I want to ask you. When it comes to films on historicals, did you hear a hue and cry when Jodha Akbar was released? Did you hear a hue and cry when Mughal-e-Azam came? Why is it when there is a film like Prithviraj Chauhan that we have questions that are raised? Questions on why it is tax-free, questions on why the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh sat in front and watched the film, why not in the back row of the auditorium? Why was he watching it free? Why is it tax-free? When Mr. Akhilesh Yadav himself in his 5 years of power actually promoted 30 films as tax-free films, wasn't there revenue loss today? Why are these questions being raised today?
Good evening, Navika, to all my fellow panelists.
You've asked a very pertinent question, Navika. There are two issues, but first let me deal straight away with that really shocking exhibition of the bias that you showed by producing the content of the NCERT textbooks. It really is shocking if that is true, but again I have to ask, पिछले 8 साल से सरकार तो कांग्रेस की नहीं है. They could have, if they wanted, to change the textbook on day 1, 2014 itself. तो ये responsibility किसकी है? In fact, the education minister is on record saying we are proud to have not changed even a single comma in our textbook. यहाँ तो उल्टी गंगा बह रही है. So yes, you can blame them, the governments before 2014, but 2014 and Mr. Modi especially are to be for this. To the other issue, Navika, this is an endemic. This is a systemic problem because nations weaken not because of their past, but rather by how they are taught it. And for 70 years, we have been taught to airbrush our history, taught to forget historical injustices. From Somnath to Kashi Vishwanath, Babarpur to Bakhtiyarpur, from Allahabad to Aurangabad, these injustices have deliberately been made visible as though to lionize the debate. Akshay is absolutely right. We know more about the wretched Mughals than about Shivaji and Rana Pratap and Prithviraj Chauhan. Navika, history that is written by the victors is peddled by the vanquished. And I'm sorry to say, but we have been totally vanquished. This is a country where people still go and pray at the tomb of the monster Aurangzeb, who beheaded Guru Tegh Bahadur, decapitated Sambhaji Maharaj, demolished Kashi Vishwanath, murdered 4.9 million Hindus. This is a country where Guru Arjan Dev was forced to sit on a hot plate and literally cooked alive by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. And what do? We immortalize him in our films as the affable, feather-toying romantic Salim. This is a country where a celebrated historian Ram Guha didn't want Delhi roads to be named after Chhatrapati Shivaji, the man who birthed an empire stretching from Peshawar to Plassey, because in Guha's words, he was a, quote, little-known regional figure, feudal lord who endorsed caste hierarchies, unquote. Country where Akhilesh Yadav takes pride in having the nickname Tipu. Tipu Sultan, the same Tipu Sultan who wrote a manifesto that was a terrifying proclamation calling for all Muslims to gather and convert infidels and wage jihad. Quote, whoever refuses to obey would be treated as an accursed infidel. Annihilation of the infidels was a sacred duty, unquote. The Hindus of Coorg, Navika, suffered a particularly Tipu Sultan. And in their thousands, murders, tortures, forced conversions, no one was spared. Even dead Hindus were converted, even dead Hindus. He destroyed 800 temples, 27 churches, captured 60,000 Christians, converted 30,000, killed thousands, emptied Mangalore of them. 4 lakh Malabar Hindus were converted to Islam. Descendants of Mandya Mahangars do not celebrate Diwali till this day. You know why, Navika? Because Tipu butchered them on this day. Tipu was Baghdadi 350 years before ISIS. And Akhilesh, the same Akhilesh who is castigating the recounting of the valor of Prithviraj, the same Akhilesh calls himself Tipu.
Ghanshyam Tiwari ji, impassioned introductory remarks by Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and I don't think he is wrong.
Good evening, Navika, to you, the viewers, and my fellow co-panelists. Anand Ranganathan is saying as if he named himself Anand Ranganathan. People are named by their parents, by their loved ones, and if one has to make a mountain out of mole, Anand knows it well. The same person who was celebrating this very week when the Chinese forces were ready for a brutal assault on Indian forces, and he was on this very channel saying that nobody is there, and people like us are making the wrong hue and cry. The records are for people to say. The same Anand Ranganathan who did not speak a word that why 47 lakh people died and this government does not. I did not interrupt.
Okay, Anand, I'll give you time to rebut. I'll give you time to rebut Anand Ranganathan. Allow him to complete.
Right.
Yes, Ghanshyam.
So when China comes at our doorsteps and our forces fight, Anand Ranganathan stands with China to save the government. When 47 lakh people die, he stands with the government. You can't find a single impassioned statement from Anand talking about how 47 lakh people died, and this government does not have data. When our people are suffering, 41 lakh children are out of schools from private schools, the Reuters report. Every major newspaper carried, including Times of India, the National Assessment Survey, where the learning levels of class 3, class 5, class 7 students are lower than what they were in 2017. At a time when India is slipping into illiteracy, unemployment, the price rise is troubling people. People have died and BJP has neglected it. Yes, you can have images like this paid by taxpayer money. This is from today's Indian Express. If I can show you here, this is the Haryana government celebrating. You know what the unemployment rate in Haryana is? Because there are people over here who will ensure that they can make such a powerful argument that the truth that is important right now, education of our children, would not matter. That the truth that for 4 years our youth have suffered because Indian Railways cannot provide them jobs after 2 railway ministers promising that they will be offered jobs, because those matters should not appear. Every day Anand can come here and start from Quran and go to messages in history or passages in history so that in an impassioned way people forget what is the real issue. So I think I have respect for his knowledge, but I have huge disregard for this kind of fry in the pan impassioned plea which distracts people from the real agenda. These people will not tell you that country is sinking due to this government's poor performance.
Now, can I, Navika?
Yes, Anand Ranganathan. How can I stop you from rebutting?
Thank you. Please give me a minute and a half. Ghanshyam ji is a very good friend, but the topic today, I think he was misled. The topic today was about our education. It wasn't Anand Ranganathan. To rebut him, point by point, number one, Navika, on your channel, I have been castigating the Chinese. He's saying I'm supporting the Chinese when they entered and when we skirmish with them. ये कौन सी बात कर रहे हैं? And saying कि अखिलेश की गलती नहीं है कि उनको उनके पेरेंट मुलायम सिंह जी ने टीपू सुल्तान पे नाम रखा है. कल को अगर घनश्याम तिवारी जी के फादर और मदर उनका नाम एडोल्फ रख दें, एडोल्फ हिटलर रख दें, तो घनश्याम तिवारी जी कहेंगे नहीं मेरी गलती नहीं है, मैं अपना नाम चेंज नहीं करूंगा, मेरा नाम एडोल्फ हिटलर ही रहने दो. नंबर 3, ही इज टॉकिंग ऑफ 47 लाख. कोविड पे भी पहुंच गए ये, मतलब आनंद रंगनाथन में कोविड आ गए. डज ही नो दैट द हेल्थ मिनिस्टर्स ऑफ 20 स्टेट्स, लीव अलोन द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, health ministers of 20 states, many of them are non-BJP ruled states, have blasted the WHO, saying ये कौन सा डेटा लाए हो, क्या बकवास रिपोर्ट बनाई है. उनको जाके कुछ नहीं कह रहे. पिनराई विजयन केरला के हेल्थ मिनिस्टर को, छत्तीसगढ़ कांग्रेस रूल्ड हेल्थ मिनिस्टर को, उनको कुछ नहीं कह रहे. नंबर 4, फाइनली मैं एजुकेशन पे आता हूं और यहाँ पे मैं डेटा देता हूं. ये कह रहे ना और डेवलपमेंट काम नहीं हो रहा, ये बात चल रहा है. 3 डेटा दूंगा नाविका 30 सेकंड में. नंबर 1, in the GDP per capita of Uttar Pradesh, when Akhilesh left was 45,000. Today it is 65,000. In 2017, the number of girl childs who were going to school, today there is a, ये क्या डमरू क्यों बजा रहे हैं अभी? बात सुन लीजिए, डमरू बाद में बजाइएगा.
RBI का स्टेट ऑफ द स्टेट सर्वे कहता है ये झूठ बोल रहे हैं. आप सरासर आप झूठ बोलने में माहिर हो सकते हैं।
Now did I interrupt him? You told me do not interrupt me. Your time will come.
अब आप झूठ बोल रहे हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश का डेटा, आप आरबीआई का स्टेट ऑफ द स्टेट का सर्वे देखिए, आपको मिल जाएगा। ये
नाविका, अगर कल से मैं इनका रॉल्फ हिटलर रख दूं तो ये अपना नाम चेंज करेंगे कि नहीं, मुझे ये बता रखिए,
आपकी मर्जी है।
No. I don't understand one basic question. आप लोग इतना बड़ा डेटा डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, घनश्याम तिवारी जी, आप हार्वर्ड के पढ़े हुए हैं और आनंद रंगनाथन प्रोफेसर हैं। मैं नॉर्मल इंसान और दर्शक जो है, द व्यूअर्स हु आर वाचिंग यू टुडे, दे हैव अ नॉर्मल क्वेश्चन ऑन द debate that we are discussing. And on the debate, I want to ask you, are you saying that unemployment has taken place today, and because this film has been made tax free, so all the money has gone away, and now from henceforth everybody will remain poor because the only money that was coming from the tax amount of this film? Number one. In which case, kitne lutaye crore Mr. Akhilesh Yadav ne, when in his 5 years 30 films were made tax free? And do you want me to tell you how many of those films actually matter? I'll give you the list. 30 films है और 30 के नाम मैं आपको बता सकती हूँ. And these 30 films include films like PK, which was said to be slightly anti-Hindu. उसको भी टैक्स फ्री कर दिया. तब कोई पैसा नहीं लुटा, तब सब कुछ ठीक था, तब बिल्कुल यहाँ पर जन्नत नजर आ रही थी सबको. There was not one poor person in Uttar Pradesh. There was not one uneducated person in Uttar Pradesh. And films like, I don't know, I haven't seen, but the name of the film that was made tax free was also one film called Sala Khadus. Sala Khadus was made tax free, but आपको पृथ्वीराज चौहान का टैक्स फ्री होना बड़ा खल रहा है. भाई साहब, ऊपर से क्या खल रहा है अखिलेश यादव को कि ये ऑडिटोरियम तो हमने बनाया था. अच्छा, आपने बनाया था, वेरी गुड. नेम प्लेट, आई एम श्योर एवरी गवर्नमेंट बिल्डिंग हैज अ नेम प्लेट आउटसाइड, उसमें इनॉग्रेटेड बाय अखिलेश यादव लिखा होगा. आई एम श्योर योगी हैज नॉट रिमूव्ड इट. बट अखिलेश सेज दैट टिल आई कम बैक टू पावर 10 years later, कोई बैठ नहीं सकता उस ऑडिटोरियम में. मैंने बनवाया था, मैं ही बैठूंगा. और फिर अखिलेश यादव, who is the most democratic person and who believes in freedom of speech, wants to decide whether the chief minister and his cabinet should sit in the front row or in the back row of that auditorium. I want to know, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, कि क्या-क्या problems हैं आपको? क्या-क्या problems हैं आपको? आपकी problem है क्या?
मैं जवाब देता हूं.
और आपने पिक्चर देखी है? आपने पिक्चर देखिए.
आपको मैं 3 बातें कहूंगा. देखिए, इससे आपका मंच है, मुझे 3 बातें कहने दीजिए. बड़ा लंबा सवाल है. पहली बात मुझे लगता है कि आपको अखिलेश यादव से प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है कि आप योगी भक्त हो, क्योंकि योगी जी ने आपकी बस को झंडी दिखाई थी. हमें इससे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. आप
I have told you, no, when you challenge me, I will challenge you with facts. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, on the 1st of September, I interviewed Akhilesh Yadav. The first man that I interviewed in Uttar Pradesh was Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. I interviewed Yogi Adityanath way after that. May I tell you, since then, from September last year till February, I kept asking for an interview. I asked him for him to give me an appointment so that my UP Express for my new channel, Times Now Bharat, could be flagged by him and Yogi Adityanath, which was the democratic thing to do. He did not give me time. Do not twist facts. Ghanshyam Tiwari, क्योंकि आप 5 साल राज कर चुके हैं, मैं 30 साल जर्नलिज्म कर चुकी हूँ. मुझे फैक्ट पर चैलेंज मत किया करें.
ये सब सर्टिफिकेट आप आदित्यनाथ जी को दिखाइएगा. मुझे अपनी बात करने दीजिए.
मुझे भी आपका सर्टिफिकेट नहीं चाहिए. आप तथ्यों पर बात करिए.
मुझे इस देश में हर
और
रोज
वैसे भी योगी आदित्यनाथ ने अगर नवभारत एक्सप्रेस को झंडी दिखाई थी, उसका टैक्स फ्री से क्या लेना देना है, मुझे समझा दीजिए।
पहली बात, मैं इस बात को कई बार कह चुका हूं, इस देश के मीडिया चैनल हर रोज हिंदू मुस्लिम बहस दिखाते हैं जिससे सरकार को मदद होती है और इसमें सरकार की मिली भगत है। तो हर बहस को, चाहे आपने जो एनसीईआरटी की किताब दिखाई, मैं चैलेंज करता हूं, आप क्लास 6 क्लास 8 में सीबीएसई से पढ़ा हूं, केंद्रीय विद्यालय में पढ़ा हूं, क्लास 6 क्लास 7 क्लास 8 क्लास 9 क्लास 10 की एनसीईआरटी किताबें उठाइए। आनंद हैं, जीवीएल नरसिम्हा राव हैं, बाकी लोग हैं, उठाइए। उसमें फ्रॉम प्री हिस्टोरिक टाइम्स टू एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री टू मीडिएवल हिस्ट्री टू कॉन्टेम्पररी हिस्ट्री टू मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री टू फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल, सारी चीजें कवर्ड है। आप एक किताब की एकाएक पन्ना, इतना बड़ा चैनल, और जहां तक आपने कहा कि हमने टैक्स फ्री किया, हमने टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया की यूनिवर्सिटी को भी जमीन दी थी। क्या आपको दिक्कत है? बोलिए योगी जी, वापस ले लें। क्या टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया बहुत गरीब था जो अखिलेश यादव जी ने जब जमीन दी थी तो उनके सारे चैनल
अगेंस्ट द रूल्स था तो ना देते?
नहीं,
अगेंस्ट द रूल्स था तो क्यों दी?
आप लौटा दीजिए।
नहीं, आप मुझे बताना क्या चाह रहे हैं? आप मुझे बताना क्या चाह रहे हैं घनश्याम तिवारी जी? व्हाट आर यू ट्राइंग टू टेल मी? आई वांट टू टेल यू दैट इफ द टाइम्स ग्रुप इज सेटिंग universities to teach children, is it a bad activity? Is it a bad activity? Are you trying to say that I should be ashamed of the fact that our group also runs universities? I want to ask you, are you saying education and imparting education is a wrong thing to do? Please shut down all private universities. Please shut down all private universities. Gurukul और मदरसे से ही काम चला लेते हैं. But let's not get diverted. I want to get in GVL Narasimha Rao. GVL Narasimha Rao, हिंदू मुस्लिम हम करते हैं, ये तो करते ही नहीं, ये तो बिल्कुल नहीं करते। Let me tell you one tweet of 2017 of Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, who's called Tipu by his parents. He has nothing to do with it. You know what he tweets? He tweets, producer Bonnie Kapoor has done a good job with the film Mom. Good performance by all. And नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी। ये तो हिंदू मुस्लिम नहीं है ना भाई। नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी तो एक्टर हैं, श्रीदेवी तो एक्टर नहीं है ना भाई, नहीं है ना। अब वो करे ठीक, हम सवाल पूछे हम गलत। जीवीएल नरसिम्हा राव, respond to the bizarre arguments. Not one response on the auditorium, the seating that is being dictated, the 30 tax-free films. किसी का कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं।
Navika, unfortunately, I cannot respond to what Ghanshyam said because this debate is not about Times of India or not about Anand Ranganathan. This is about Samrat Prithviraj. Who compared? If Samrat Prithviraj film is not a topic to be debated, if this is not a subject on which any discussion needs to happen, who compelled Akhilesh Yadav to even comment about it? What does anything prevent a chief minister to watch a film? If he does not like it, okay, let him not comment on this. You comment on this issue. You use this as a ploy to reach out to your vote bank. You want to indulge in appeasement politics in Lucknow. And on Times Now, you come and say, we should be talking only education and health. And there is no place for us to talk Hindu-Muslim. Who says Hindu-Muslim? You are the one who are seeing it through the prism of Hindu-Muslim. You are the one, you see, not just you. The entire so-called secular lobby has always peddled these lies. There has been a narrative that has been promoted for decades. This Tehzeeb, Ganga Yamuna Tehzeeb, composite culture, all this works fine in Lucknow. It doesn't work in Srinagar. We can massacre Hindus. You can push Kashmiri Pandits out of Kashmir because we don't need composite culture. We need it in Lucknow. We need this in Agra because we want to indulge in appeasement politics. How convenient is it? Why doesn't composite culture become relevant where Muslims are in a majority? Why is it toppled on Hindus to indulge in appeasement politics in the name of composite culture? I think this is a question they should answer.
Would you want to answer that, Mr. Kuntal Krishna? What is Hindu-Muslim about the film Prithviraj Chauhan? And the first question, how many of you have seen Prithviraj, Samrat Prithviraj? Dekhi hai? What about Hindu-Muslims?
See, Navika, BJP and RSS is looking at UP as a political laboratory. Let me make this very clear. And it is not the question that why did Yogi Adityanath go to watch a movie. The question is, did Yogi Adityanath ever ask his whole of the cabinet to go and visit any hospital when his own health minister, Mr. Brajesh Pathak, said that in UP health system is sulking? Brajesh Pathak Yogi Adityanath ke mantri hain. And he inspected an hospital, he went to a hospital and he said कि health system is sulking. क्या उस समय योगी आदित्यनाथ ने अपने कैबिनेट को कहा था? When a Dalit was raped and murdered, did Mr. Yogi Adityanath ask whole of his cabinet to visit that? Navika, the whole question is BJP and RSS is trying hard to polarize this country on communal lines simply because they don't have to answer on unemployment, because they do not want to do a debate on sulking economy. So they are picking up all those issues and they are directing every issue towards a communal debate. This is all.
My dear friend, Mr. Krishna, I want to ask you, Prithviraj Chauhan was a character in history. To make a film about him, is it banned? And is watching that film with the cabinet banned? And if Rahul Gandhi can party in Nepal and be in a pub in his private time, do you think Mr. Yogi Adityanath and his cabinet do not under the constitution deserve any private time to watch a film? Do you think talking about Prithviraj Chauhan will create a communal divide and polarization, but making a film on Jodha Akbar invited no such questions from anybody? I want to ask, what's the prism, what is the standard? Can you please tell me on what basis you're making these arguments?
Navika, watching a film on Prithviraj Chauhan is not at all bad. Prithviraj Chauhan was a hero, Prithviraj Chauhan is a hero.
But the question is, why are you calling it a polarizing film? Why are you calling it a polarizing film when you haven't seen it?
I'm telling you, Navika, RSS and BJP is doing all the efforts to polarize this country. Sometimes by using an ad film sponsored by RSS.
Chandra Prakash Dwivedi also made Pinjar. Is he from the RSS? I want to ask you, is he from the RSS? He's an historian, he's a well-read man, he's a man of letters. Are you saying he's from the RSS? So you are saying Akhilesh Yadav can make Gattu, Bhag Milkha Bhag, Two Little Indians, Ded Ishqiya, Jai Ho, Ya Rab, Bhootnath Returns, Mardani, Mary Kom, Katia Baz, Char Shehzade, PK Tevar, Hawai Zada, Jai Ho, Democracy, Hamari Adhuri Kahani, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, Miss Tanakpur Hazir Ho, Ishq Ke Parinde, Janisar, Masan, Drishyam, Manji, Once Upon a Time in Bihar, Chalk and Duster, Bajirao Mastani, Airlift, even Sala Khadoos, tax free. But Yogi Adityanath cannot. GVL Narasimha Rao, what is this yardstick?
Navika, I think if it was a film about anything else, I don't think Akhilesh Yadav would have commented it. It's not about any tax relief being given to a film. He saw yet another opportunity to appease the Muslim community, to make them feel that he is with the invaders, with all those barbaric rulers, who created mayhem in India, who attacked Hindu religion. So they will say, talking about greatness of Mughal rulers is not a polarizing activity. But for us to say anything good about Prithviraj Chauhan becomes communal. It becomes a sort of a polarizing activity. Why, bhai? You can talk about appeasement politics. You can indulge in rank opportunism. You promote this so-called composite culture, and you want the Hindus to suffer in the name of composite culture, and you call that secularism. Can there be anything more farcical than this? Rank communalism has been promoted and couched as secularism by the Congress, the Samajwadis and many others.
Navika,
and they are feeling threatened today when the people of this country have rejected that kind of secularism.
I think what can be more farcical than this is page number 85 of 422-page RBI Handbook 2021, State of the State Survey. Uttar Pradesh,
no, I think Navika, this is a classic case of diversion. What was the need for Akhilesh Yadav to comment on this? Can our friend Ghanshyam Tiwari, why is Akhilesh Yadav talking about an issue which Ghanshyam Tiwari does not think relevant?
You can speak.
Why did he talk about the bill?
No, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I am absolutely happy to discuss state GDP with you. I can discuss expressway construction with you, budgets, everything I can discuss with you. But tonight, the discussion, the debate is on Prithviraj. And I just want to ask you, do you have anything to say about the objections to the film Samrat Prithviraj even before you watched it?
Let me respond. So the tweet, the headline tweet from Akhilesh Yadav, National President of Samajwadi Party, is that the government must look at the challenges that the state faces right now.
Okay.
If per capita income, the GSTP is not a challenge, then maybe this headline from today, that a witness in Lakhimpur Kheri was attempt on life was made, and the person who was supposed to protect him is suspended.
Of course, important issue.
Just a second.
Of course,
why do you have to
issue.
interrupt in half a
We'll
sentence?
invite you for a debate on that. But Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm only asking you the question, when 30 films were made tax-free in your government, was there no problem, economic or social or any such thing?
No,
Everybody was educated, 100% literacy and 100% people above the poverty line in Uttar Pradesh, which is why you can justify these 30 tax-free films.
I am happy, Navika, that JBL here and his party lives in 0 BC to 1000 AD. Anand lives in 1000 AD to 2000 AD. All the discussions about that, and you live in last 8, 10, 20, 30 years. But I live in present. If the tweet means that the government must look at present, you can have your debate, you can have your point of view about the past. Anand can wrestle with what Mughals did. I did not interrupt, allow me to complete. Anand can wrestle, and I have strong objection when Anand brings up my parents into the debate. I did not I don't like this mode of talking. When you are talking about people named in a certain way, their loved ones name them. So let's stick to certain principles. The debate was not on Tipu, why he was named Tipu. So if Anand had an objection, that why did I raise
victim card playing?
No, it's not victim card playing. Allow me to complete.
Allow me to complete. How long will you take to complete? I don't have all the time.
Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete.
कितना टाइम ले रहे हैं आप?
अरे आप कोई बात नहीं भाई,
कोविड बता दिया, हेल्थ बता दिया,
कोई बात नहीं, आपको दिक्कत क्या है?
सारी बातें डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, जो टॉपिक है वो डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे हैं, फिर कह रहे हैं गिव मी मोर टाइम।
टॉपिक ये है,
कितना टाइम दूं घनश्याम जी, आप मेरे घर आ रहिए, बात करने के।
आपका चैनल नहीं है, आपका चैनल नहीं है पहली बात, और टॉपिक
चैनल तो मेरा भी नहीं है, चैनल तो अब आपका हो गया।
नहीं, चैनल तो मैं मानता हूँ कि इस देश में सारे चैनल इस समय भारतीय जनता पार्टी के, मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ, लेकिन मैं गलत हो सकता हूँ।
चलो
ठीक है, वो अलग बात है।
आपकी जय जयकार।
नाविका, कैन आई प्लीज कम इन?
Yes, Anand Ranganathan.
Thank you. I mean, Ghanshyam Tiwari, I don't know what has happened to him. Is he like, I hope someone from Harvard isn't watching. He might want the degree back. But I want to say a couple of things.
Really? You want to say these nonsense things?
Now, 1 second, Ghanshyam. Now, please, hold your
history. Did you pay for my degree?
Hold your horses. Listen, I've given you enough time.
I mean, you speak about my parents.
Gentlemen, घनश्याम तिवारी जी, आप तो कह रहे थे झगड़ा बीजेपी करवाती है, आप क्यों करवा रहे हैं? आप बोलने दीजिए ना. You are a democratic man, allow him to speak.
Let him not make. If he wants my degree back, let him pay for it. That is fine.
अरे भाई, योगी आदित्यनाथ ने हराया है, उनका गुस्सा हम पे क्यों निकाल रहे हैं भाई? 5 साल बाद फिर लड़ लेना.
मुझे नहीं है.
5 साल बाद फिर लड़ लेना भाई. Please.
Don't take personal. Don't take personal.
Now, 1 second. My point was that if somebody is named Adolf Hitler, no matter who named him, is it not the prerogative of that person to change that name or not? That was the question. Would any sensible person like Ghanshyam Tiwari, if called Adolf Hitler by whoever, would he not change the name? Would he or would he not? Keep the name Adolf Hitler. Answer this, Ghanshyam.
Absolute nonsense.
You're an educated person. You look like an educated person.
Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
You wouldn't change your name. You wouldn't change your name from Adolf Hitler.
Go ahead. This is an absolute nonsense. This is an absolute nonsense. Go ahead. Go ahead. I welcome this kind of logic.
All right. You know, let's come to the moot point. Let's come to the moot point. कि tax-free status से problem क्यों?
नाविका, इनको टैक्स फ्री स्टेटस से प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, इनको प्रॉब्लम योगी आदित्यनाथ से है, जो ये धुलाई हुई है. एंड कैन आई प्लीज टेक 20 seconds टू कम टू माय गुड फ्रेंड मिस्टर कृष्णा. ये 5 टॉपिक्स डिस्कस कर लिए घनश्याम ने, तो कृष्णा जी ने कहा मैं पीछे क्यों रहा हूं, मैं भी 3 डाल देता हूं उसमें. ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट कि हेल्थ के बारे में क्यों नहीं गए. डज ही नो दैट नीति आयोग हैज सेड यूपी इज अमंग्स द टॉप लार्ज स्टेट्स for year-on-year incremental progress on health parameters. If you look at IMR, MMR, all those states. Number 2, I don't know, इनको लगानी थी कोविड वैक्सीन, ये एंटी-फैक्ट वैक्सीन लगा के आ गए हैं. Mr. Krishna would remember, every year in Gorakhpur, there used to be terrible child mortality, unexplained child mortality. It happened in the first year of Yogi Adityanath's reign. I want to ask him a simple question, Mr. Krishna. When was the last time children died? Tell me, was it 22, 21, 19, 20, 18? When was it? Answer the question.
Mr. Krishna.
Can I come in, Navika?
Yes, Mr.
Give me the year, sir. Give me the year.
Yeah, Navika, I just want to ask my good friend Anand a simple question. Anand, are you still a political or you have joined BJP and RSS? And let me tell you, it is not me who is saying. योगी आदित्यनाथ के अपने मंत्री ने, उनके अपने हेल्थ मंत्री, उनके अपने हेल्थ मिनिस्टर ने कहा था, उनके, I am telling you, see the plight of Mr. Anand, plight of health system in UP was described by UP's own health minister. आदित्यनाथ जी के मंत्री ने, जो कि उप मुख्यमंत्री भी हैं.
राज्यसभा सीट.
Anand, you must,
Mr. Krishna, I don't know. Everybody on this debate is saying we don't want to be personal and nobody should be personal. But Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, who has objections to personal attacks by Anand Ranganathan, made personal attacks on me. How I'm a BJP channel, how land was allotted to my company, went hammer and tongs at me with personal remarks. But nobody should make a personal remark at him. And we are discussing the issue of Prithviraj Chauhan, the film that's come out, and whether or not these issues should be discussed. The fact is that we read a lot about Mughals, we read about a lot of British Empire, but we don't read about enough of Indian rulers before that period and their valor. And even the point is, most people believe, and it is also an adage which says history teaches you. And if we don't want to revisit and look at our history once again, because history that we've read may be colored, and that's the view many people believe, why can't we revisit it? Why is it polarizing to revisit history, take a re-look at it, begin to value some of those historical figures that have been overlooked or airbrushed? I don't understand what is so polarizing and what is so discomforting about it to the opposition. GVL, can you understand what's so discomforting?
I think it's absolutely bizarre, and possibly in no other country would people glorify invaders who have been extremely brutal, barbaric, forced conversions, ill-treated people, maybe treated women in the most ugliest manner, attacked them with violence, and you glorify them in your books. And you use your family domesticated historians to write great stories about those invaders.
That's the problem.
And you have no
That's
respect
the problem for our younger generation
people.
today. Why is there opposition to revisiting history and discovering our roots and the valor of Indian rulers? Where is the ban on that? For all those who go and put flowers on the grave of Aurangzeb, why don't they do it for Dara Sekho? Why do they have such an antipathy towards Prithviraj Chauhan? The question is, most people here, I think other than Anand Ranganathan and myself, haven't really seen Samrat Prithviraj, not the Samajwadi Party spokesperson, not the Congress spokesperson. So what are they quarreling about? Is it about the tax-free status? Is it about the auditorium that was built by the Samajwadi Party when it was in power? Did they build it with their own money? Was that not taxpayers' money? And will they also choose to decide which row the Chief Minister sits on today when he's the Chief Minister? Bizarre objections that are coming up. What's behind it? That's the question people of India are asking. But viewers, don't make up your mind till you actually see the film and appreciate it or don't appreciate it. It will be decided by the public because the public is the boss. It will be a hit if it's a hit with the people. If not, it'll sink. So what is the opposition worried about? That's the question. Going to my next debate, as I thank my panelists on